They don't sit you down. They don't confess. They don't say the words you're afraid to hear. Instead, they change. And the scariest part is how quiet it happens. At first, you tell yourself you're overthinking. Everyone gets busy. Everyone has off days. But deep down, something feels different. Not loud, not dramatic, just missing. One of the first signs someone is falling out of love is emotional distance. They're still there physically, but mentally they've already started packing. Conversations feel shorter. Replies come slower. When you talk, it feels like you're talking at them, not with them. They stop asking follow-up questions. They stop being curious about your world. Another sign is when effort disappears without explanation. The things they used to do naturally now feel like chores. Dates stop being planned. Affection becomes inconsistent. You notice you're the one initiating everything. Texts, calls, check-ins. And when you stop trying, the silence grows louder. They may also stop arguing. And this one confuses people the most. No fight sounds like peace, but sometimes it's not peace at all. It's indifference. When someone is still in love, they care enough to fight for understanding. When they're falling out of love, they'd rather avoid the conversation entirely. Not because things are better, but because they don't feel worth fixing anymore. Pay attention to how they react to your emotions. When someone is falling out of love, your feelings start to feel inconvenient to them. They brush things off. They minimize your concerns. They make you feel like you're doing too much for simply wanting reassurance. Over time, you start shrinking yourself just to keep the peace. Another quiet sign is when the future stops being talked about. Plans become vague. "We'll see" replaces excitement. They stop including you in long-term conversations. And if you bring it up, they change the subject or seem uncomfortable. It's not that they don't think about the future, it's that they're no longer sure you're in it. And maybe the most painful sign of all, you feel lonely even when you're together. You can sit next to them and still feel unseen. You can laugh, but it doesn't land the same. You can sense that something in their heart has shifted, even if you can't prove it. Here's the truth no one likes to say out loud. People don't always leave when love ends. Sometimes they stay out of habit, comfort, or fear of being alone. And sometimes the relationship ends emotionally long before it ends officially. If you're watching this and recognizing these signs, it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you weren't enough. Love fading is often about where someone is in their own life, not your worth. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is stop begging someone to feel what they no longer do. People love to ask one question when cheating comes to light. Why didn't you just leave? It sounds logical, clean, simple. But human emotions are rarely any of those things. Most people don't cheat because they're bold. They cheat because they're conflicted. Unhappiness in a relationship doesn't always show up as anger or fights. Sometimes it shows up as silence, distance, a quiet sense of emptiness that grows while two people are still sharing the same space. And when someone feels unhappy but doesn't know how to confront it, cheating becomes an escape route they never planned, but slowly justified. One reason people cheat instead of leaving is fear of loss. Leaving means endings. It means uncomfortable conversations, guilt, hurting someone you once loved, and facing life alone. Cheating, on the other hand, lets someone test happiness without letting go of the familiar. It's a way to reach for something new while still holding on to what feels safe. Another reason is emotional validation. When someone feels unseen, unappreciated, or emotionally neglected, attention from someone else can feel intoxicating. A compliment lands harder. A message feels warmer. Not because the new person is better, but because they're new and they don't carry the weight of unresolved history. That attention fills a void the relationship stopped feeding. There's also avoidance. Some people don't cheat because they want to betray. They cheat because they don't know how to communicate their unhappiness. They were never taught how to have hard conversations, how to express needs without fear, or how to walk away without feeling like the villain. Cheating becomes a silent rebellion against a life they feel trapped in. For others, cheating is about identity. Long-term unhappiness can make people forget who they are outside the relationship. The affair becomes a reminder that they're still desired, still attractive, still capable of feeling something. It's less about sex and more about feeling alive again. And then there's the uncomfortable truth. Some people stay because the relationship still benefits them in certain ways. Stability, financial security, shared routines, emotional safety. Cheating allows them to chase excitement without sacrificing comfort. It's selfish, but it's human. None of this excuses cheating. Understanding is not justification. Cheating doesn't happen in healthy communication. It happens in emotional gaps. It happens where honesty feels too dangerous and vulnerability feels too risky. And while leaving requires courage, cheating requires secrecy. And secrecy often feels easier in the moment. But here's what cheating never does. It never fixes the unhappiness. It adds guilt, lies, anxiety, distance. It turns one problem into many. And eventually the truth finds its way to the surface because relationships don't collapse from one moment of betrayal. They collapse from the silence that came before it. If you've ever been cheated on, this wasn't your fault. And if you've ever cheated, it doesn't make you a monster, but it does mean something inside you needed attention long before the affair began. People often say, being alone is better than being hurt. But for many people, that simply isn't true, at least not emotionally, because loneliness doesn't just mean being by yourself. It means sitting in silence with your thoughts, your memories, your wounds. And for some people, that silence feels unbearable. At first, being in a hurtful relationship doesn't look like a choice. It looks like hope. It looks like staying a little longer because things might get better. It looks like remembering who someone used to be and believing that version will come back if you just love harder, try longer, or stay quieter. One of the biggest reasons people stay is familiar pain. Hurt that's predictable feels safer than loneliness that's unknown. When you already know how someone disappoints you, your nervous system learns to brace for it. But being alone forces you into uncertainty, and uncertainty feels terrifying to someone who's already been emotionally hurt. Another reason is fear of abandonment. For people who've experienced loss, neglect, or inconsistent love, being alone doesn't feel neutral. It feels like rejection. A hurtful relationship may still provide presence, someone to come home to, someone to text, and even if the connection is painful, it still feels better than feeling invisible. There's also emotional conditioning. Some people grew up believing love comes with pain, that arguing, begging, and sacrificing yourself are part of commitment. When that's the example you were shown, a peaceful relationship can feel unfamiliar, even boring. Hurt feels normal, chaos feels like passion, and calm feels unsafe. Many people also stay because they've slowly lost themselves. Over time, constant emotional pain can erode self-worth. You stop believing you deserve better. You start thinking this is all you'll ever get. Being alone then feels like confirmation of your worst fear, that you're unlovable. So staying becomes a way to avoid facing that belief. Then there's the quiet truth no one likes to admit. Being alone forces healing. And healing means feeling everything you've been avoiding. Grief, anger, regret, pain that doesn't have a distraction anymore. A hurtful relationship can act like emotional noise, something that keeps you from fully confronting yourself. So people choose hurt, not because they want pain, but because pain feels familiar and loneliness feels final. But here's what doesn't get talked about enough. Staying in a hurtful relationship doesn't protect you from pain. It just spreads it out over time. The loneliness you're trying to avoid doesn't disappear. It just shows up while you're lying next to someone who no longer sees you. And that kind of loneliness can hurt even more than being alone. Leaving doesn't mean you failed. It means you chose honesty over comfort. It means you chose yourself, even when it was hard. If you're watching this and recognizing yourself in these words, know this. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you'll always be alone. It means you're finally making room for something healthier. Sometimes love doesn't end with a goodbye. It fades in silence, in distance, in choices people don't know how to explain. Tonight, we talked about the quiet signs someone is falling out of love, not through words, but through absence. We talked about why unhappy people cheat, not because they're heartless, but because they're afraid to face the truth. And we talked about why so many people choose hurt over being alone, because loneliness forces you to sit with everything you've been avoiding. None of these stories are about blame. They're about understanding the emotional gaps people live in every day. If any part of this series felt familiar, you're not weak, you're human. Now I want to hear from you. Which part of these stories hit you the hardest? Have you ever noticed love fading before words were spoken? Or stayed longer than you should have because being alone felt scarier? Your experience matters here, and your comment might help someone else feel less alone. This is Story Time, where we talk about the emotions people feel, but rarely say out loud. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when a new video drops. Until next time, my friends.